bombing of New York's World Trade Center in 1993 stunned the nation. Foreign terrorism had come ashore. America was no longer immune. The plotters came from a group of Islamic fundamentalists. The mastermind was a veteran of the CIA-supported Mujahideen, the holy warriors of Afghanistan.
The entire American public was all in favor of supporting the Afghanis against the Russians. Now, the unintended consequences is that country's an absolute mess. It's torn apart. All these weapons are sitting around there shooting at each other, and they were all provided by the United States government.
Afghanistan had been the final battleground of the Cold War. The CIA helped the Mujahideen rebels defeat the Soviet Red Army. To help the Afghanis, the CIA had set up training camps in neighboring Pakistan. CIA officers taught young Muslim men everything from making bombs to shooting down helicopters. They were carrying out a secret directive from President Reagan.
The lethal finding said provide assistance, lethal and otherwise, to the people of Afghanistan to resist the Soviet invasion. It didn't say anything about, at the end of this, make sure nice guys are in charge.
Though orders to support the Afghanis had come directly from President Reagan, it was the CIA's job to decide which of the many rebel factions should get the most money and weapons. The CIA chose Gulbuddin Hekmatyar, a fundamentalist who hated the West. His followers had first attracted attention when they threw acid in the face of Muslim women who failed to wear the Orthodox veil.
If you're going to take me in the middle of a jihad, a holy war, with 200,000 part-time soldiers of God, and instruct me to come up with some sort of a litmus test to find out who's a nice guy, I mean, it can't be done.
Hekmatyar's army had been accused of killing as many rival Afghanis as Soviet soldiers.
What's it like sitting in a room staring at Hekmatyar? What you're staring at is a guy who says, you could almost read it, I have my purposes, you have yours.
The military mastermind of the Mujahideen victory was Ahmad Shah Massoud. But the CIA and their Pakistani allies gave him less support because they considered him too independent.
که از CIA زیاد شنیده بودیم عجیب معلوم میشه. و تو فکر میکردیم که CIA در همه جای شاید حضور داشته باشه و از همه مسائل شاید واقف باشه.
Despite repeated warnings, the CIA made alliances with the most radical anti-Western forces.
My philosophy, and one that I think prevailed, get the weapons into the hands of the shooters and really let God sort it out.
The CIA didn't fully appreciate how its holy warriors were being indoctrinated by their religious leaders. Fundamentalist clerics were not just exhorting their followers to fight against the Soviets. They were also preparing them for the next holy war, against the United States. The CIA had helped the Afghanis defeat the Soviets, but in the mosques, the agency was often characterized as the invisible hand of the great Satan America.
In the Afghan dictionary, you're going to find gratitude after gimme and gotcha. But more important, we both have a strategic goal. We both want to defeat the Red Army. It's being done with our gold and their blood.
During the 9-year war with the Soviets, 1.5 million Afghanis were killed, and 500,000 were maimed or wounded. The war's legacy of destruction has poisoned the feelings of many Afghanis about their former U.S. allies. There is another seed which has flourished in the wake of war. Afghanistan has become a principal source of opium for the world. Some of the Mujahideen commanders, who were supported by the CIA, still control many of the area's huge poppy fields.
بخاطر که به نظر از یا کفار بایی آغشته بسازن و یا رای یک جهاد بدن.
The warring factions in Afghanistan have enough drug money, guerrilla training, and sophisticated weapons to destabilize the region and spread terrorism around the world. Included in their arsenals are the remaining Stinger missiles supplied by the CIA. For those in the agency who managed the Afghan campaign, the victory over the Soviets far outweighed any blowback that has followed.
There isn't an inclination in America to say, hey, that was pretty good. There is an inclination to say, well, you know, you guys didn't consider the unintended consequences that giving weapons to radical, wacko fundamentalists will cause trouble later. Well, this is the same kind of thinking that would have prevented us from providing any assistance to the Soviet Union to fight the Third Reich.
The Soviets withdrew from Afghanistan in 1989, but some of the Islamic volunteers who were trained in the camps by the CIA continued their fight around the world. In 1995, veterans of the Afghan Holy War bombed an American-run military training center in Saudi Arabia.
بعد ذلك زاد فيني الحماس بالذهاب إلى أفغانستان للجهاد وبالفعل ذهبت إلى أفغانستان ومكثت تقريبا 3 سنوات.
These people, some of these people, just left Afghanistan and got it spread all over important cities of the world. An explosion here, an explosion there, an act of terrorism here, an act of terrorism there. And then what was in the media, or whose name was in the media very much? Afghanistan.
The blowback from Afghanistan led to the first major international terrorist attack on American soil, the bombing of the World Trade Center. The terrorist's spiritual leader was Sheikh Abdel Rahman. His fiery rhetoric had inspired many young men in the CIA training camps. Another holy warrior, Ramzi Youssef, allegedly planned to blow up the United Nations and the Holland and Lincoln tunnels. Today, Americans, like many people around the world, worry whether the blowback from the Afghan jihad will strike again.